Do you want to know exactly how to use debt to make tens of thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and with even enough time, even millions of dollars? Well, if you do, I want to show you 5 ways how rich people make money with debt. And I promise you, number 4 is something that is doable for all of us, no matter who you are or where you are, or even how much money you have, because it's not about how much money you have, it's about something else that has nothing to do with your income. So this is in no particular order, but one of the first ways that wealthy people use debt to make money is by starting a business. So when you think about a lot of these big companies, and even smaller companies that have large incomes, a lot of them did not have the money to bootstrap their own businesses. And so what they did is they borrowed money from other people. And there's multiple ways you can do that. For some people, they actually borrowed money and put, hey, I'm gonna pay you back X amount in 24 months time. And that X amount has to make sense to the people who are lending the money. But some people who loan money, they're like, look, I don't want you to pay me back, period. And you might be thinking, why would somebody not want somebody to pay somebody else back who borrowed the money? Because they know something that a lot of us either don't know or just didn't look at it from that perspective. So they don't want a debt repayment. They want equity in the business. And so there's some people who actually approach other people to borrow money for a loan, but that person wants equity in the business. And so some people who starting a business, they're willing to take on this equity either for a certain period of time or even for the lifetime of the business to get it started, because for them it's all about speed. And so it's like the quicker they can start this business, the more money they can make. And so from their perspective, it's like, even if I give up this amount of equity, if I take 2 or 3 more years to start this business, number one, the window of opportunity could be lost altogether, or the amount that I'm going to lose from an opportunity cost perspective is more than what I'm going to pay this person from them having part ownership in that business. And other times people start businesses and they need money for a very short period of time. It might even be like 30 days, 60 days or something like that, just because depending on their business, they might need money just for inventory. And it's like, look, I got everything else covered. I just need money for the initial orders. And so sometimes people are willing to pay a large return for an investment for a short period of time, because it's like the initial return they're going to make is huge. And so they're willing to go in debt because they know the payoff is much greater than what they have to pay back in return. Now, the second way that rich people make money with debt is that they refinance their mortgages. Now, this strategy does not work for most people, but it works phenomenally well for people that are rich. So what they might do is, let's say they have a mortgage, and that mortgage is, let's say it's $1 million, and that property goes up in value 1.5 million. So now it's no longer worth 1 million, it's worth $1.5 million. And when the property value goes up, what some people would do is they'll refinance their home or their business, whatever they have a mortgage on, and they might pull out $300,000 or $400,000. And now they have a new mortgage that might be 1.4 or even 1.5 million, but now they have this $400,000 that they could do something with. So what they'll do is they'll go in debt, like they'll increase their debt, but they'll take that $400,000 and they'll invest it in something that not only pays what their new mortgage is, but it now yields them a greater return than what the debt actually costs. And so for them, it's like, I would go into this debt all day because this opportunity over here is making me more money than what this debt over here is costing me. And for some people, that's not a really good strategy, because some people just refinance and they just put everything back into their home, or they put everything back into something that's not giving them something back in return. And here's why this is a bad idea for a lot of people to refinance their homes, even for a low interest rate. Because let's say if you've been in your home for 5 years, most people understand that the first 7 to 10 years of you buying your home, you're just paying back interest. Nothing, period, is going towards the mortgage. And so from that perspective, it's like you've been in your home for 5 years, you paid all of this money for interest and none of this hit the principal at all. If you refinance in 5 years, if you have a 30-year mortgage, that 30-year mortgage now starts all over again. So it's like that 5 years you paid into it, it's eliminated. It's like it's zero. It's like it's never even happened. And now you're starting all over again. And so even though people might get a lower interest rate, it's like sometimes people don't understand it's not worth the interest rate when you have to start back over from zero. And so one of the ways where wealthy people do this is like they immediately take the extra money and make it work for them. And unlike people that are not wealthy or not savvy, they're using this small in between to not only cover that debt, but now it's making them even more money. And so that's why a lot of wealthy people refinance and they use that debt to make more money with. Now, a third way that rich people use debt to make money is that they actually buy businesses or they buy into businesses. And how they buy into these businesses or how they buy businesses is they might go to a bank and get a loan. And here's the reality. Even though they have all of the money in the bank to cover whatever this cost is, from their mindset, they're thinking it's cheaper to use the bank's money than it is for me to use my money. And some people might think like, well, how is that the case? Because I want you to think about it from this perspective. If somebody, let's say they have $1 million, I'm using $1 million as easy math. Let's say they have $1 million and their $1 million is getting 11% return. And whatever they want to invest in is $500,000. So they have more than enough to cover it. However, they can go to the bank and get, an interest rate that's 5% or 4% or even 7%. Borrowing the bank's money is still cheaper than using their own money, because if they use their own money, that's now interrupting their 11% return versus just paying the banks 5, 6, or 7% back. And so at the very least, if the banks are charging, 7%, they're still making 4% over here using the bank's money versus their own. And so they'll use the bank's money to either invest in a business, or buy into a business, because obviously when they do one of those, they're making even a greater interest, like they're making a greater return on it. And so for them, it's just much cheaper to use the bank's money and go into that debt, because that debt is good debt, because that debt is making them more money than the debt actually costs. And so sometimes we are conditioned to think that we just want to get out of debt. Like we don't want any debt whatsoever. We don't want to owe anybody nothing but love. And we fail to understand that that's the slow path to wealth, and it's a slow path to get us to where we actually want to go. But it's like when you really want to get on the fast track to wealth and be like rich beyond your wildest dream, using debt to do it the right way can actually accelerate that. And that's what most, if not all, wealthy people do, with the exception of the one person, I won't even say him. He might be your uncle like he's most people, but you already know who I'm talking about. Now, one of the fourth ways that rich people use debt to make money is a lot of super successful business owners, they run ads. And if you know anything about ads, whether it's Facebook ads, YouTube ads, Instagram, it really doesn't matter. But if you know anything about ads, like people that are very successful in their business, they want to put in $1 and get like $4 back or $6 back. There are some people that are even getting $36 back for every dollar that they put in. And so what they do is they spend as much money as they possibly can, because think about it. How much money would you spend if you know for every dollar you put in, you're going to get 10 back? You're going to spend as much as you possibly can. And that's exactly what a lot of these successful business owners do. But how they do it is that they actually use debt to do it. So they'll put all of the ad spend on their credit card, because what it does is it gives them a way to spend money twice. And here's what I mean by that. When they run ads, they're getting immediate return on investment. However, it's like for every dollar that they put in, let's say on average, they're getting back 10, but they're putting it on a credit card. So even though they might run ads, on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, some people are getting returns within that week. And so what it gives them the ability to do, it gives them the ability to continue to make as much money as they possibly can. And let's say their bill at the end of the month is like $30,000. Well, when you think about $30,000 in ad spend, but it's like somebody has made $100,000 from that $30,000, but their bill is not due for another 30 days. And so what do they do? Now it's like the money that they use on this credit card, but they got like liquid money into their bank account. Now they can use that money again to make even more money before they actually have to pay the bill. And so for a lot of business owners that are very successful and they have their ads dialed in, they actually use credit cards and they go in debt in their credit cards to make more money, because they understand that, listen, if I run up a credit card bill of $20,000, $30,000, $45,000 a month, and there's a ton of people that's doing that, but for every dollar that I spend on my credit card, which I'm using some of their money, I'm using their money, I'm making $10 for every dollar. They're going to do that all day. And then they get to spend it twice, Because before the credit card is due where they got to actually make a payment, now they're using the money that they made to even make more money with it. And so that's a strategy that so many people are doing. And then you think about how many people that have credit cards and they have like cash back bonuses and flights and all. So they're getting so many different perks by dialing into a system on how to utilize credit cards to pay for their ad spend to make them more money and get all of these perks in the process. But it's a phenomenal way that so many different business owners are utilizing debt to make more money with. Now, the fifth one is one of, I'll say one of my favorites because I've done this multiple times and it's something that anybody can do. And I know I said at the very beginning of the video that number 4 was it. And here's the thing, you can do number 4, especially if you either have a business or you sell somebody else's product. But I'll say this, number 5 is one of those ones where no matter where you are, this is one you can do. And number 5 is hard money lending with borrowed money. And here's what I mean by that. If you're not familiar with the terminology, is that people need money for different things, especially when it comes to real estate or some aspect of business. And so people are willing to pay back like a high percentage for a short period of time because they're making a big return. And so they're willing to give up like a large portion of money because they understand that if I just get this money to, fund the project that's coming in or get these initial orders ordered, that I'm going to make a lot more money on the back end. And so what people would do is that they know people who are in these situations and either A, they might not have the money period that this person is requiring, and they'll go and borrow it from somebody else. And let's say this person is going to give them 20% return in 3 months. This person over here would say, listen, I'm gonna give you a 10% return in 12 months. And so like this person over here, they really only need the money for 2 months, but they're telling this other person 12 months. They're getting 20% for 2 months over here, and they're giving 10% for 12 months over here. And so what they're doing is that they're making a buffer. Like worst case scenario, if it goes haywire and it doesn't go as planned, I still got 2 months of buffer, and I got an extra 10% of buffer if things just don't go right. And so this person over here, they're thinking like, this is phenomenal because I'm not getting that kind of return in the banks. Like, the banks is not giving me a 10% return, or a CD is not giving me a 10% return, or, even a stock, is not giving me a 10% return with, some kind of huge risk in a matter of 12 months. But over here, this is more so guaranteed, if you will. And so for a lot of people, they're in these different business and real estate situations where they need cash quick. And because they need cash quick, they're willing to pay a higher percentage. And so some people are just the middleman, where they might have a little bit of money or they don't have any money, but they know both sides. They know people who have money and they know people who need money, who have opportunity. And so this middleman, they might just become what's called a hard money lender or a private money lender, if you will. And they'll go borrow money over here and tell this person, hey, this is for XYZ business opportunity. And then they'll go loan it to this person over here. And it's a brilliant way because it causes everyday average people to become the bank. And this can take place on all kind of levels. I remember one of the first times that I did it, I think, we invested like $10,000 and we got back a 20% return in 2 months. Now that might not be a whole lot of money, but think about this. You have money laying around and that money is not doing anything. And you could take this money that's laying around and you can make an extra $2,000 with it where you don't have to do anything at all. Like you don't have to go do any real estate, investing, deals, look at stuff, nothing. You're just loaning money. That's passive income. Like where you don't actively have to do something for that money. That's passive income. And that was phenomenal. And I've seen people do it with, as little as like $200 or even $500. But it's something you could do on any level. Like people do it with hundreds of $1,000s. Matter of fact, like I've borrowed hundreds of $1,000s for different real estate deals and things like that and pay people back. And I mean, people are like, they're making great money, and I remember a time where I borrowed, it was maybe about 180,000, and who I borrowed it from, they made about 15,000 back, and it was probably about 2 months. But I didn't mind that because of the amount that I made, so it's like, look, I'll give you this 15 or 20,000 because of how much I made off of your money. And so I'm just saying that hard money lending is a phenomenal way to make money, and it's something that wealthy people use on a regular and even daily basis to make money with by utilizing it from a debt perspective. And so if you are somebody who really wants to make money and you want to make money without exchanging your time, I would highly encourage you to look into hard money lending. And again, you could do it on any level. But if you're somebody who like you're tired of working, you're tired of exchanging your time for dollars, you want to go back through this list and figure out how can you use somebody else's money to make more money with, so you can actually make money from somebody else's efforts. And it's like when you can do that, now you literally become a middleman where you just kind of like the exchange. And you're getting money by introducing different opportunities to other people, never introducing them to each other, but it's like you are the go-between. And it's like you can be the go-between for so many different situations, and you can make a lot of money in the process to it. And I will say this, buying businesses is so critical right now. And it's one of those things where people don't realize how difficult it is to actually start a business. And it's like if you can buy a successful business that's up and running, is profitable, is making cash flow, like that is so much easier than starting a business from scratch, doing all of the marketing, building up your clientele and customer base, when you could just bypass all of that and just buy one from somebody else who's maybe on the side of exiting because either they're older, they want to do something different. But buying businesses is brilliant, and you can actually use other people's money to do it. So I want to just encourage you to go back through this list and figure out which one of these is most applicable to where you are in your life right now, and what you can use to leverage one of these or either all of these 5 to make the kind of money that you want to make. Now, before you leave, I want to ask you to leave a comment below and let me know what was your biggest takeaway from this video. And this is if your first time here, I want you to consider subscribing, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.